Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Chloe Carmichael. I'm a clinical psychologist in New York City, and I'm also a former yoga teacher. And what I'm going to share with you today is a video blog about how to make a hard decision. This is part of a little project I'm doing where I'm taking all of my blogs and doing video blogs of them, because I've come to realize that a lot of people really respond much more to a face than they do to a big block of text to read. So if you like to read, that's awesome. I hope that you'll go to my blog and read my blogs. But if you're someone who really also enjoys the chance to see and watch and hear someone explain things to you, then you've come to the right place here on my YouTube channel. So if you see me looking down a little bit from time to time, that's just because, as I mentioned, I'm actually reading my blog on decision making. And although I might be reading parts of it, I'm also going to kind of step back sometimes and talk about it a little bit as well. So without further ado, I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Do you sometimes get stuck on decision making? Well, it's great to have options. There is a hidden burden. There's the responsibility of actually making a choice. So whether you're trying to choose between two jobs, two romantic options, or even two vacation spots, I know sometimes we can just get a little bit stuck and get into what a lot of my clients sometimes call analysis paralysis, where they've made a pros and cons list, they've thought about it a lot, they've talked it over with people, and they know that intellectually they've really explored their options as much as they possibly can, but they're still struggling to just understand which choice is really going to feel the best, which choice is just really going to click with them in a way that maybe is beyond, something that they could necessarily figure out just by thinking about it. So I work with a lot of what's known as high functioning people in the world of psychology. That tends to mean people who are really intelligent, driven, somewhat organized thinkers. And such people, when they have a lot of options, while they're grateful to have the options, they can sometimes be prone to overthinking. And so if you feel like you're someone who's ever caught yourself overthinking between a couple of different options that you might have, then the technique I'm going to introduce could be helpful to you. The technique is called the toggle technique. At least that's what I'm calling it. It's as I mentioned, I was a yoga teacher before I was a psychologist. So a lot of the techniques that I work with and sometimes create and sometimes adapt from other things that I've learned are oftentimes a combination of yoga, meditation, and psychology approaches. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce the toggle technique. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is to just go ahead and what we call, center yourself, calm yourself, quiet yourself. For me, a lot of times that just means a basic meditation pose where you want to put both feet flat on the floor and put your hands in your lap with your palms facing up. In yoga, that's just a position of receiving, but you can really just do whatever feels best for you. And just take a look at your hands. It's a way of literally taking your focus onto yourself in a gentle way, and take a couple of deep breaths just to get comfortable with yourself and really focus yourself on what you're about to do. And once you've had a chance to do that, on your next exhalation, you might want to consider even closing your eyes. If you're doing this exercise right now with me, you can even just do that now if you want to. When you close your eyes, it helps you to just block out everything else around you and really go inside and understand how these two choices that you're trying to decide between feel to you. And so what I'd like you to do is just for a moment, imagine that you have decided to do, we'll call it option A. So if you're trying to decide between two things, let's just for a moment mentally imagine you have decided to do option A, and just pretend for a moment that that is what you are going to do and that you have completely committed to it, and that there's no turning back. And I'd like you to now just check in with yourself and see how that decision feels to you, literally on a gut level. So do you feel kind of a sinking feeling in your stomach, or do you feel a sense of lifting in your heart? A lot of times our bodies actually can tell us how we feel about something, sometimes even better than our mind can tell us. We actually have a ton of serotonin receptors in our gut. I think I heard somewhere that it's even actually more than what we have in our brain, that we actually have in our gut. So the old saying about thinking of how something feels to you on a gut level, there's actually quite a lot to that. So just taking a moment here and thinking about how you feel with that first decision, with option A, just really claiming that for the moment as the decision that you've decided to go to. Now, let's go ahead and toggle to option B. Let's try option B on for size. Let's just absolutely go for the pretend idea that you have completely now committed to option B. How does that feel in your body? Are there any kind of feelings of pleasure and happiness and relief that you have? Or is it, kind of a feeling of disappointment? It could even be some kind of a mixture, but let's just really explore option B. When you think about taking option B, do you feel like overall it's a positive feeling that you have inside, or do you feel like it's a negative, kind of a downer feeling that you have inside? And now one more time, let's toggle back to option A. So comparing that again now, just really diving in with option A again, seeing if it feels good to come back to it, or seeing if, maybe now after having tried on option B, seeing which one really feels better now. So just really claiming option A again, deciding that for the moment, you're going to pretend that that's the choice that you've made. And now, once again, toggling back to option B. So a lot of times, just getting ready to wrap up here, it's just a quick exercise called the toggle technique that can help people to make a hard decision. The toggle technique is not intended at all, of course, to be a replacement for making a pros and cons list or for thinking about your decisions carefully and all of that kind of stuff. The toggle technique is here to help you when you feel like you've analyzed, you've thought, you've overthought, you've got into analysis paralysis, and you just don't even know which option you actually really want to do anymore. Then going ahead and just trying the toggle technique and pretending for a moment that you've chosen one choice and seeing how it feels, claiming that feeling, and then toggling into the other option for a point of comparison. Again, sometimes we just need to actually experience things before we can really know. And if you are someone that is pretty good at the skill of just suspension of disbelief, of just, pretending for a moment that you've taken one choice, then you actually can kind of preview what the experience would be like. And so sometimes we learn a lot more that way. As I mentioned, I'm really interested not only in psychology, but also very much in meditation, because I'm a clinical psychologist and a former yoga teacher. So a lot of the work that I do blends both yoga and psychology. So if you're interested in more of these types of techniques, I hope that you will hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified as I share more. And if you're into Instagram, I hope that you'll join me on Instagram at Dr. Chloe, DRCHLOE_. Same handle on Twitter. I'm also on Facebook, and I love to connect with people. That's one of the reasons I became a psychologist in the first place. And as a yoga teacher as well, I just always really enjoyed the chance to learn about other people and share and connect with people. A sense of community has always been really important to me. If you'd like to share with me about any of the decisions that you're making or any of your experiences using the techniques in this video or on any other videos or channels, do feel free to interact with me on social media or in the comment section of this video. I'm really excited for the chance to connect with you. Have a great day. Thanks.